Hey guys, Ryan from the Mavericks, mavericks.goldmansons.com. This is podcast episode 38. And today we're talking about what to do when you get to the landing of understanding. So as we mentioned before, you started off your business, right? And when you started off your business, you accrued small victories. And then your mindset might have changed, where instead of accruing small victories, you perceived that you were accruing small failures that got bigger and bigger until at one point you needed to take a break. You needed to stop and rest and to take a survey of the land that you finally arrived in. Some people call this the valley of despair. So you start off here at the top of the mountain, you're very happy, and as you're traveling, you end up in this kind of abyss, this valley, where things are really depressing and where the situation is not what you hoped it to be, right? And now to climb back out of this, to get back to where you started, that is that despair, that sense of, I can't believe I got here after all this effort. Fair. But if you could reorient your thought and realize that when you started off and accrued small victories and went all the way up and you needed to take a break and you got to that valley of despair, actually it's not a valley, it's a landing. It's the first landing on the top of a very tall mountain, on the way to a tall mountain, on the way to the top of a tall mountain, sorry. That landing, that first landing is a landing of understanding, and it is the landing upon which you make the determination of how many more landings and what kind of effort is needed to get to the very top. Fair. The question is, when you get to the landing of understanding, or the valley of despair, most people quit. And I would venture to say, as I said in the past two episodes, that maybe 99% of all small business failures, it is them landing on the landing of understanding and realizing that the climb is going to be much harder, much longer, and much more expensive than they thought it would be. And maybe it's not worth it. So the question for you is, will you continue on this mountain, or will you go back down, start again, or maybe just live at the bottom of the mountain? Nothing wrong. The bottom of the mountain is filled with luscious green grass and beautiful streams, and everything is secure and stable there. The mountain is cold and lonely. It is craggy and filled with difficult paths. Which one would most people choose, right? And it is fair. All of civilization was built because a few people climbed the mountain, and that there were many more people that lived at the base of the mountain to try and support that one person that climbed the mountain. And at the same time, that one person who climbed the mountain became the support for that group of people that were living at the base of the mountain. All right, so it's a symbiotic thing. But the question is, are you the person who climbs the mountain? Are you the person who lives in the valley? And it's fair, whatever you choose. But if you are at the cusp of this, I will say to you, climb that mountain. Don't give up. Don't stop. You see, when you started off this business, there was a reason you started this business. You had a vision. You had a dream as to what this business would become. You found a way to contribute to humanity that was worth the risk that you took when you quit your job and you put in that money and you started that venture, right? There was some future that you saw that the world had yet to be blessed with, that you could contribute to. And it was worth it. It was enough. It was worth enough for you to sacrifice everything to go there. And as you climbed, you got to the landing of understanding and realized that the sacrifice that would be required of you would be greater. And I say to you this, that vision and the dream that you started off that business with, it was worth it. It was worth it to get to this landing, and it is worth it to get to the peak. Now, at times, the business that you started off with that got you to the first landing, you may, what's the word I'm looking for? You may become disheartened by the industry that you're in. Maybe the economics of the industry aren't what you thought it was. Maybe the market has changed, the industry has changed, the economics have changed, the economy has changed, circumstances have changed, and now you are not able to complete this venture with your current circumstances. But if that is really the case, is there a way that you can make a lateral movement within that industry? Is there a way that you can innovate your business model so that you can compete in the market with this new economy, in the new set of economics that you have to deal with? Is there a way to stay at the landing of understanding and continue climbing up, such that you don't actually have to leave the landing? You don't have to go backtrack. You can try to find another way up. There is always a way up. My mom always used to tell me, when there's a will, there's a way. There really is a way when there is enough of a will. If you think about it, In the 1960s, when we made the decision to go to the moon, it was not until 9 years later that we went to the moon. When the Wright brothers made the decision that man could possibly fly, and it was a possibility still in their minds, and they invented flight, what happened just a few decades later? We had planes flying all over the sky. We have jumbo jets. We have fighter jets. We have concept planes now because our understanding of aerodynamics had exploded after the discovery of airplanes. And so when you start on a venture, there is a vision you have of the future that is worth taking the risk for. And when you get to that landing, it is still worth the risk that is needed to keep going. But you may have to innovate the model that you're working on. And if there's enough of a will, there's enough of a way to get to the goal you need to get to contribute to humanity the way you want to. See, the thing is this. When you start a business, right, you're contributing to humanity. So the method that you choose to contribute to humanity, it may not work. Circumstances may change, like I mentioned, economics, economy, market, industry, all that kind of stuff. And you get to that landing and you realize the sacrifice that is needed. You may need to just, as I mentioned before, innovate your model. You may just need to contribute to your vision in another way, right? So like you had this vision of the future that you wanted to create. You chose one method, you got to the landing, and maybe that method is not working. But there may be another method to contribute to the same end vision. So don't give up on the vision. Maybe that milestone is the first milestone. Now you need to choose another milestone in a lateral industry. But in either case, don't give up on the end vision. Choose another way to get to the same end vision. The vision was worth it. That's why you took the risk. Now, the reason I'm pressing this point, and I am desperate to get this point through, is because there is a lot of business mentors who are multimillionaires who do not care about leaving a legacy in the world except their own name and their own wealth. There are people that will tell you, if something doesn't work for 3 years, shoot it in the back of the barn and try another venture. There are some people who will tell you that your business sucks no matter how much you try. There are some people that will tell you that it's not worth the risk, it's not enough, or you're not enough of a business person to figure this out. So a lot of great businesses, a lot of great business leaders were rejected in the beginning of their business. It's part of the process of the evolution. It's part of the process of the maturation of the maturation of a CEO. So a lot of people are going to deny you. A lot of very successful, rich people are going to tell you that what you're doing is a bad idea, right? They're going to tell you that whatever you're doing doesn't need to be done. There's probably a better way to do it. If you want money, there's an easier way to make money. Listen, this ain't about the money, right? This ain't about the money. This is about the vision that you wanted to contribute to humanity. And so don't let anyone come and tell you that it's not worth it. Don't let your own self-doubt, don't let your own self-talk tell you that it's not worth it. It is worth it. It is worth pursuing to the very end the vision that you had for humanity. And you are the one who can contribute to it. And guess what happens when you persist? Guess what happens when there's enough of a will? There's a way. And what happens when there's a way and you're the person who leads the way? You leave a legacy for the rest of the world to prove a point that the underdog is the greatest story of humanity. Because when there's a will, there's a way. And you became that person to demonstrate again the underdog story and the value of that underdog story. So that some kid in the future, when they have a dream and they decide or they come across this point where I'm not able, I'm not capable, you will be the story that they refer to that changes their mind and gets them back on track. Whatever you're working on right now, this is a thought. This is a mind game that I always play on myself. Whatever you're trying to work on, that contribution to humanity that you want to apply for, do you think that in some future somebody will endeavor to achieve it? Someone will actually achieve it? And if the answer is yes, why not you? Persist. Persist in the vision that you started on. Don't give up on it. And when people say you can't do it, keep doing it. McDonald's, Starbucks, Walmart, SpaceX, Tesla, Home Depot, Costco, Johnson & Johnson, all the big names, they persisted in one vision and they carried it to the end. And their businesses, unsurprisingly, became billion-dollar businesses. Why did they become billion-dollar businesses? Because they were contributing to humanity. They were not just in it to make money, right? And there are a lot of rich people out there that are just out there to make money, and they will leave for themselves nothing. No legacy, no contribution to humanity. You don't want to be part of that population. You want to be part of that population that persisted on one dream so that you can contribute one thing to humanity and be remembered for it. And then your company will outlive you for decades to come. And that will be a real contribution to humanity. So you get to the landing of understanding. Don't quit. You have the vision. It's worth getting to the end. Just choose another path if you need to. Just choose another way to get there. Just choose another milestone. Just choose another method. Or maybe continue on the same path. But don't give up. That vision is worth it. You are worth it. Don't let anyone tell you that you won't be able to make it there. When there's enough of a will, there's enough of a way. If planes could be invented by two brothers, if rockets could be invented by a few engineers, if we could get to the moon because the country decided we would do so, then you can do whatever business you're working on. You can make that vision a reality. I wanted to leave you with that message at the Landing of Understanding. This is Ryan from the Mavericks. I hope you join us, mavericks.goldwynandsons.com. I'll see you there. Take care.